battles, once Wildcat escaped from the fort with his warriors, they meet up at the headwaters of the Tomoka River. And most of the Seminoles by now are ready to give up, because all the chiefs have been taken. But because of his great escape, he bands a few of them together, and they start heading deep into the Everglades. That's where the war starts shifting down out of central Florida into South Florida, into the Everglades, where no white man's ever been. They're going to go. And so they start moving down that way, and the first major battle with the soldier, Zachary Taylor, he's en route, and every day's march they build a fort, so that way there's a fort every day's march from St. Augustine down the St. Johns River to Okeechobee, and this is the Battle of Okeechobee. The Seminoles have concealed themselves up in the trees and gotten ready for marksmanship fighting, take some shots out of the trees. The soldiers will march across this open area, and they burned off part of the grass so they could see the soldiers coming ahead of time. But the Seminoles will retreat. Zachary Taylor will claim a victory. The Seminoles will also claim a victory because I believe more soldiers get killed in this battle than the Seminoles do. You see how the Seminoles go to great lengths to hide underneath the cypress trees and the mangroves, swamps, and the soldiers in boats now, because now they're in the Everglades. And this is an area, like I said, no white man's ever been. They're living in makeshift camps. This is a lean-to. A real house, a Seminole house, is called a chickie. And it would be about 4 times bigger than that, completely enclosed, sometimes open on the bottom to allow fresh air. But a lot of these houses were open air to allow that fresh air. Some of them would have walls. Some of the permanent villages like log cabins. Natives here never lived in teepees. That's in western tribes. Houses in the eastern United States, from the Mississippi all the way to the Atlantic, were permanent houses because they were farmers. Natives that are farmers don't move around. Out west, tribes weren't farmers. In the prairie, they followed the bison, so the teepee was the movable home. Once the battles moved down to the Everglades, the chiefs now are chiefs like Micanopy is now relinquished. He gets captured with Osceola, but Billy Bowledge becomes the next in line. Now, there's a succession of chiefs. The first one I told you was Cowkeeper. His son is Micanopy. The next one is called King Payne. King Payne gets killed in a battle in the Patriots' War, and Payne's Prairie today is named after him. Gainesville, Payne's Prairie. The next chief is Micanopy, which Micanopy, Florida is named for. He's the head chief during the Seminole Wars. But he gets captured with Osceola, and this is the next chief, Billy Bowlegs. Okay? Billy Bowlegs. Look at how fancy he is, man. If he ain't a king, there never was one. And all these medals. This is beadwork. I didn't get to bring it today. I forgot to grab it out of my trailer. But I have this pouch, a copy of this actual pouch. That's all tiny little beads. And each bead's the size of a flea. And I did want to bring it, but I forgot to grab it. So I did bring some of the clothing. If you want to see the ladies' clothing, the men's long shirt. This is made by a very famous Oklahoma Seminole. He's now passed on, but his work is very, very valuable. So this is Billy Bowlegs. He'll be the chief during all the southern campaign, the wars down in the Everglades. And also Wildcat, the one from this area that burnt the sugar mills. Now they're going to capture Wildcat. They're going to use his daughter as a trick. They're going to capture his daughter, and they're going to say, listen, if you don't come in, we're going to use her and take her to Oklahoma, and who knows what will happen. So he finally surrenders, and he gets taken to Oklahoma. When he gets to Oklahoma, after the Civil War, natives side with the South or the North. Some tribes are mixed, some go either way. Wildcat ends up siding, I believe, with the American side, the North side. And afterwards, he goes down to Mexico, and he joins the Mexican government to help fight natives down there. And he actually dies down in Mexico. That's where Wildcat's buried. Now, Billy Bowlegs, he's going to get bribed, and finally he's going to surrender too. And then the wars go on, and the Third Seminole War is actually known as the Billy Bowlegs War because he has a banana garden and a big garden that surveyors come through, and they attack it, and they attack it meaning they take things and don't pay for it. And when natives see white men coming in the swamps back then, they didn't know what's going on because the war, Second Seminole War never ends. It just kind of fizzles out. And so during the Billy Bowlegs War, when he seen these surveyors come, all his warriors, all his people, they take off. They abandon, because who knows what these people are going to want. And so they watch from the distance as these guys steal things out of their garden and take off. That night he comes to their camp for restitution, and a war breaks out that will last about 3 years in Florida, called the Billy Bowlegs War. Now there are actually 3 Seminole Wars, but to the Seminoles, it's just one war that never seemed to end. As a matter of fact, one old man, Abiaka is an old medicine man. He'll live through all 3 Seminole Wars, and he'll be the last chief, the last medicine man that never surrenders. He's going to take his less than 300 followers so deep into the swamp again where no one will ever catch him. And so they're going to stay down there. And there's a lot of mixed blood in Seminoles. There's Billy Bowlegs again. After he surrenders, this is an actual photograph of him on the shores of the Mississippi at New Orleans. When the Seminoles were surrendered in the Everglades, they'd take them to the Fort Brooke, Tampa, and they'd put them on a steamship and sell them across the Gulf to New Orleans, up the Mississippi River, Arkansas, across land, Oklahoma. Now, when he gets to New Orleans, it's 1858, I believe, and early photography has just started. And this is probably one of the first photographs ever of a Native American. Photograph, that is, not painting. So that's Billy Bowlegs, and it's an actual photograph there. And that's after he had surrendered, gave up his people, and took a bride, took his followers to Oklahoma. But that old man, Abiaka, also known as Sam Jones, his white man name, he was actually, in the earlier years, not even thought of as a medicine man or a chief. He was an old fisherman that sold fish to them at Fort Brooke, which was Tampa. And later they find out he's going to be the one that will take them down to the Everglades, and they'll never surrender.